Hey everybody. I was speaking with somebody a couple weeks ago and she just landed a new role as head of enablement for a software company. And she was telling me that literally within 4 to 5 weeks of landing there, she realized she made a huge mistake. And it was a mistake because she got there and realized there was little to no executive sponsorship of enablement there. And if most of you guys know that if you don't have executive sponsorship at a company for enablement, then your job is very difficult. It's not a good place to be. And so today I want to talk for a moment about how during the interview process, you can interview them as well as them interviewing you, and specifically on how much sponsorship did they give enablement at that company. So I think the first thing you can look for is just look around the room. Who are they having interview you? And again, if you're maybe a head of enablement or a fairly senior role there, you would expect to see the head of sales there asking you some very hard questions and being an active part of that process. If they're not there, that's a big red flag. You have to have them on your side. If they're not actively participating in the selection of you, then that's a problem. I think that the second thing you can do is if they are in the meeting and being actively asking good questions, ask them a question about what was the last big strategic initiative that they rolled out with enablement. And let them tell the story, whether it's a methodology rollout or a messaging certification or competitive training, whatever it is. Let them tell you what the story is, and then follow up and ask them, what was your personal involvement in that rollout? And what I want you to listen for, not just their words, but their actions. So listen to how they were involved in the planning process. Listen to how they were involved at the rollout, if they were present at all the meetings, at all the trainings that they had. Or that if they're doing like a recorded certification, that they went first and then ask their direct reports to go next and then everybody else. So listen for their active involvement. If you have that, that's a very good sign that they understand the importance of leading by example and supporting enablement initiatives. I think the last thing to listen for is, do you have a seat at the table? And specifically, is there, at their weekly meetings with their senior staff, are you part of that meeting as enablement leader? I would listen for, is there a regular one-on-one that you have with that head of sales on an ongoing basis? If there's not regular involvement, that's a concern. I was speaking with somebody 2 weeks ago and she was saying that she hasn't met with her head of sales in like the past 2 quarters. And so it makes you wonder. So I would listen for and ask questions about how much do they trust the opinion of enablement? How much do they have ongoing contact with enablement? And if there's not a lot of it, that's a concern. So I hope these questions will give you some ideas of ways you can probe into that. But always in your interview process, listen for and look for and ask active questions about their executive sponsorship of enablement initiatives. Good luck out there, everybody.